We can start by beginning with a room breath. So if we all, there's something about, you know, when you have a room or a dormitory where there's a lot of women or sisters together, usually the sync between the two sisters is the menstrual period kind of flows and gets in sync, right? You can actually, come on in. You can actually, with breath, get the same sync. So the energy we had last time with regards to the relaxation, did anybody get notice anything from last time as far as a better night's sleep, or at least the rest of the day was kind of cool?
Yeah, I try to do it at night before I go to sleep actually, so I do get benefit out of that for sure.
Excellent. First time I did anything with breath work from what Andy Weil showed us, my class, it was pretty good. I felt really relaxed after it, and then I used it repetitively for exercise, and then I went into yoga, showed it to my dad, and I started to teach it to patients. But we kind of forget, but if we all start with like a deep breath in, we can actually get in unison. So why don't we go ahead and have a, come in. Why don't we try to start with a cleansing breath. So were you guys weren't here last week, right? No? Okay. So the idea with what I want to do with teaching meditation is to do something that's really reproducible. Number one, teach you something that I do and I teach my patients. Number two, just give you permission to kind of take a couple 5 minutes out. Usually I'll try to do 30 minutes. What Deepak Chopra taught me was 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes at night. And the science is that if you have relaxation for that 30 minutes, twice a day, you have serotonin that increases, and it carries through till about 12 hours till the next time you meditate again. You don't have to do a 3-hour thing. It's just a matter of doing regularity every single day, circadian rhythm. We want to sleep deeper. We want to be awake and problem solve in the daytime. You want to eat right, sleep deep, problem solve, be awake. So you have to have a set pattern. So if you get anything out of this, even if it's just a fleeting 5 minutes of, that's pretty cool, then imagine what you can get if you do it every day. I have videos online where I talk about the serotonin high. And serotonin is a hormone that you secrete in every cell in your body. A lot comes from the digestive system. And if we eat right, serotonin is good, and we feel great. Digest great, feel good, think right, fight infection great, repair fantastically. So imagine if you can just do that twice a day and give your body what it needs. So whatever you do, just try to take it and see what happens. But we'll do this once a month and try to give a different curveball. Last week I did 4-7-8 breathing. Now it's what Andy Weil teaches. That's what we learned at the fellowship. And I combined it with what I like to do, shoulder rolls. Because I think a lot of us, especially, are you all nurses or mostly nursing staff? Okay, so everybody's like this all the time. Or if you're in school, you're always gaming and you're like this. Or if you're reading at night, you're like this with your tablet. And that's very unhealthy. This kind of position is bad for the neck, at least osteoporosis, or at least bad posture and other things. I always like people to start out with a good posture. So it kind of feels funny if you haven't done it, but kind of military posture. So what you have to do is kind of, I pick this one because it's more stable, but you guys can kind of roll around in your own chairs just for the next 15 minutes. So hopefully nobody has back pain. If you have back pain, just sit comfortably. But if you can, you want to get your sit bones, the ischials, tuberosity, the sit bones, the points on the buttock, and plant them into the chair. And you kind of move back and forth so you can feel the sit bones kind of make contact. When you get the sit bones in contact and your feet are flat on the ground and your thighs are against the cushion, then you want to balance your low back so it's effortlessly just on top of so you got sit bones here, you got your low back, then you move around your trunk so it's just effortlessly balanced on the lumbar, then you get your shoulders so they're kind of loosened up. And sometimes moving them around a little bit will tell you in space, because again, everybody's like this all the time. So give yourself the permission to move around a little bit. Again, don't, in this room when you're with me, don't feel bashful, but in yoga we usually do warrior pose. We do movements where we're allowing the chest and the heart chakra to radiate out. Because usually most Americans are like this. And that really sets the tone for how you react to your environment. And that also tells you how you fight infection, how you sleep. So allowing the shoulders to roll back and being proud, almost like being proud. I like to have people exaggerate with rolling the shoulders up and back and holding them just for a second and seeing how it feels to do this. And you'll notice if you're not used to it, your scapulars, your rhomboids get tired by holding. It's hard. But once you feel that and you allow your chakra to kind of sense what that is, then it can ease up. But already, you haven't done anything, and just by holding this position for a short time, it's empowering. This is disempowering. This is empowering and strong. So just even smiling will induce serotonin. But what do? We're told not to smile. We're told to just be looking straight on, don't mind anybody else, and you won't get into trouble. But sometimes that's not a good thing. So smiling will generate, other smiles will generate a great idea in the room. So let's start by just rolling back, holding, and then letting down. Rolling back again, holding, and then letting down. Roll up ears, shoulders back, and down. Now link it to breath. Inhale, roll them back, pause for a second, and exhale. Inhale, shoulders up, roll back, exhale. One more time, roll up, deep breath, hold it, and let it go. Now have your palms on your thighs. Just, if you want to close your eyes for the time being, you can close them. Just to kind of turn off the sensory experience with the eyes and notice a little bit about how you're feeling. Sometimes you'll feel a little sweat develop under the arms. Sometimes you feel that the shoulders are a little loose. Sometimes you'll feel empowered or something's happening in the heart chakra, in the chest, in the sternum. Whatever you feel, just try to notice it. And that'll be your first mindful dive into meditation. Meditation is just a form of mindfulness that allows you to recognize what's going on in your body. So with that, continue with what you're doing, eyes closed or eyes open, it's up to you. I'm going to use sound this class. So I'm going to turn on a sound, and if you keep your eyes closed, I want you to try to let the vision come out. What you're feeling in your chest and where the mind takes you. Remember to take in deep breaths and exhale. Keeping posture, deep breaths. Exhale. Deep breath in. Pause for a second. And exhale. On your own. concentration of the breath and just let the thoughts roll. The pictures in your minds. Pictures going wherever you're thinking about or whatever you're thinking about. And intentionally also think of areas on the body that are stiff, tight, painful. And intentionally loosen them up now. So if you have tight shoulders or traps, you tighten them up for a second. If you stretch them out while you're doing your relaxing. Just sitting there and letting them go. Your calf is a little bit tight, stretch it a little bit, and hold it, then let it go. Your low back is a little painful, wiggle around a little bit. Just pivot on those sit bones, and let them go, let the movement go, and just come back to stillness. Again, let the brain, the thoughts do whatever they want to do. Breath in, pause, let it go. Deep breath in through the nose again, pause, let it go slowly. One more deep breath in, pause, and out through the nose, and flicker open your eyes. And notice how you're feeling, or keep your eyes closed if you like. Notice how you're feeling. Feeling tired is sometimes a good thing. If you need sleep, then your body's going to, at this point of relaxation, will say, let's go to sleep. If you're feeling wide awake, again, everybody will feel differently, but the idea is to tag on and recognize how you feel, whether it's loose in the shoulders and it's muscular, or it's kind of, I feel like I'm high, or you feel like you just won an award, or you are holding hands with your old loved one. Whatever you feel, try to grab on, or you're walking on the beach with, I usually think about walking on the beach with mom and dad in New Jersey. Or there was one place in the Philippines that I was with dad when he went to his reunion, and it just, sunset was beautiful, and that just sticks in my mind, but that brings it out for me. That's why I brought it here. It resonates with me, and hopefully, I think everybody knows what a sunset is. Even if you live in the Midwest, everybody knows a sunset, I hope. Everybody, usually when you're overwhelmed by a sunset and a beach and the sound, those are all stimuli. You have the five senses that you're using. Your feet are in the sand, you're hearing the shore, you're seeing this beautiful sun slowly go down, taking its time, not a monitor and the speed of the internet, but this thing, it slows down. You're seeing seagulls, you're smelling the waves, the ocean. You have overwhelming five senses. You're overwhelming the five senses to slow down. And that's what we have to do, is if you give yourself permission to just take this next 5 minutes, then you've given your body that rescue it needs before you go into whatever you're doing. So that's one way. I got this online, 20 bucks, but it has white noise. I play this in my exam rooms. So while patients are waiting, they're hopefully immersed in this and they'll slow down and start relaxing instead of having a list of things. That's my guys. I'll have a list of things, laundry list. I want to tell doctor this in all half an hour. And sometimes that gets them all flustered. So this will slow down. They'll forget about the list and we can have a conversation. I can figure out what's going on. That's what my job is. So other things that I brought today that this is what helps me. I use this when does anybody do yoga here? So with yoga, the folks who don't do yoga, in Ayurveda or yoga, we concentrate our poses and our breath work to get the chakras flowing. Chakras are energy wheels. There's 7 of them. Start from around where the sit bones are and they go up the center of the body. It's an imaginary line, and if the energy is flowing properly, you have health. You feel good. You help other people. Society prospers. If you have a blockage somewhere, then you feel disease and sorrow and pain. So the idea with stimulating the chakras, we just did that in this last 5 minutes by just relaxing, starting with the sit bones. I kind of prompted you to work on the sit bones, work on the sacral chakra, work on the solar plexus chakra, work on the heart chakra, the throat, and that's what I was doing with you. So you were all doing yoga in a way. So this is your first introduction to yoga if you haven't done it. But again, it's not a religious thing. You don't have to take a big expensive course. It's just a matter of learning a different way of healing, feeling good. This is a brass bowl, and it's sometimes used to signal the beginning of yoga class or the end of meditation. Does anyone have tinnitus or pain with hearing? So does this? It's not really like the school bell, the alarm system. It just is a nice note. It's supposedly a C note, and this is actually the vibration that you get when I do that. Is the vibration you get in the root chakra. That's the first chakra between the sit bones. So if we're stimulating the root chakra with me telling you to relax and be conscious about what your position is, this also helps. Sometimes if you're having flight of ideas and you're a little anxious and you're worried about tomorrow, that's all because the energy's flowing way too much this way. This is supposed to be able to ground you. So hearing this to me reminds me of time to meditate at the Chopra Center. And class is going to start and this is going to be awesome. That's the way I think of it. But the other way to think of it is just as if you sing the bowl. If you're not used to hearing things or it doesn't remind you of a class, just doing the meditation or the breath work that we just did and listening to this in the background, the concept of using this singing bowl in an office environment like the lecture that we just had on meditation is to help you gain a point of focus. The ears can be used as one of the senses to help the brain focus on one thing. I did the singing of this bowl and the bigger quartz bowl crystal to help us all meditate together. And I also, if you weren't aware of it, used the aromatherapy in the room by burning incense. And used the sound machine for reproducing the sound of the ocean, all to gain a little bit of insight into mindfulness. Now, the objective of using sound is because in a hospital environment, in an office room, or in a meeting room, you know, it's the air conditioner kicked on a couple times. The meeting next door was occasionally breaking out with laughter or conversation. There were overhead announcements that were being made. Sometimes there's an orchestra playing in the meeting area. So it's all difficult if you haven't really developed a practice to become mindful and not pay attention to all those things that cause a monkey mind. It's sometimes helpful if you have a point of focus. And that's why I mentioned in yoga, when doing balance exercise or poses, we pick a dristi, a point of focus for the eyes. You can certainly close your eyes, but when doing a balance pose, it's a little bit difficult. So sometimes we'll just use a reference range. You focus on something and you just concentrate on it without diving too deep into the surrounding area. That's what mandala is for. Helps you use the eyes and the vision to zone in and then zone out of everything else. So here in the Palos Hills, I'm not sure if you can hear it with this microphone. There is a highway that's close by, but this is all cicada, crickets, some birds, and up until a couple seconds ago when I hit this area and you can hear the highway, it's pretty quiet. I'll head back to that area where we can't hear the traffic. But in an area like this, you don't need a singing bowl. In an area in a hospital or in a house that's where you're trying to get some sleep and it's noisy or there's other people awake, you might have to have that sound, smell, touch or feel, touch or taste, inspiration to get you to dive into your practice. Makes it a lot easier. Deepak told me that he, in the last Chopra Center event I went to, he dives deep into meditation, and when he led the group of, I think we were about 800 people, 600 to 800 people, you can tell that he just went in, relaxed, stretched his neck out a little bit, and went straight to meditation. Some of us had to get used to the seating, get used to our knees, get used to our backs on the chairs, but most of us, because of the power of the group, the unity, the synchronicity of the group, we're able to get to that point or attain it. That's what's nice about a group practice. It's sometimes hard to get that going. So that's why it's important, whether you use a singing bowl, a sound machine, aromatherapy, essential oils, a massage, although you probably fall asleep with that. Whatever you use, a good posture, and make it so that it supports you in sustainable practice. Usually I'll suggest 3 weeks straight to establish an engram or pathway in the brain that it likes it and recognizes it as something useful. Then after 3 weeks you can reassess and take it to the next level. Yoga practice, Tai Chi, even a counselor, a psychologist to help unveil or develop a deeper sense of some form of personal design. But whatever you do, don't just say you're going to commit. Don't just say that you're going to do it and hope that when you wake up or when you're about to sleep and you're exhausted, it'll happen. It's sometimes better to commit to saying, okay, this is the time. This is the time I'm going to sit down and do it, or right before bed. This is the time when I'm going to wake up 5 minutes earlier and commit to it. Put it on the calendar, be accountable, and it'd be much more likely. You set the alarm clock for the practice, and it'll be easier to do when you wake up totally tired, or when you're about to go to sleep and you're just so tired, but the inspiration might not be there.